Hey everybody, this is Coop. I've got a battle report of 2,500 points of my Demons of Chaos versus Lizardmen. So for my list, for Lords, I've got two Lords of Change. The first one is a level 4 of Metal with an Exalted and a Lesser Gift. His Exalted Gift, he originally rolled up, I think, +2 Toughness, which really isn't super helpful. So I traded that in for the Chromatic Tome, which allows me to re-roll the magic phase. So if I end up rolling a 2, 3, or 4 for the Winds of Magic, that will really hurt me due to the Reign of Chaos table, so I can re-roll those. And also this list is relatively magic heavy, so I definitely need to get some strong phases. For the lesser gift, I'm not sure what I rolled, but I ended up dropping it down to the Wand of Whimsy. So whenever he dispels or successfully casts a spell, I roll one die, and on a 5 or 6, I get +1 attack and +1 strength for the rest of the game. So that's a really useful weapon to have, just because it can really accumulate over the game, and +1 attack and strength ends up being really nasty. Most things won't get armor saves, and the more attacks, the higher the chance I'll have to kill whatever I'm fighting. The second Lord of Change, who's my general, I decided to make the level 2 the general to kind of split up the points a little bit, since you'll get 100 points and 100 extra victory points for killing the general, and the level 4 costs, I think, 70 points more because of the additional magic levels. Split them up so they're about even. So, this Lord of Change is level 2 of Tzeentch, mostly so that I have a pretty high chance of getting Infernal Gateway on one of my horror units. He has an Exalted Gift, which I ended up rolling. You create more Furies for each wound you do, or something like that. I decided to trade that in for the Eternal Blade, and for my lesser gift, I ended up rolling a 2+ ward on the first wound you take in the game, which is a pretty good gift. Got a Herald of Nurgle with the Regeneration Locus, and he got a greater gift. He ended up deferring to the Fencer's Blades. So his weapon skill 10, he's got an extra attack. So weapon skill 10 with Mark of Nurgle means that most people are going to be hitting him on 6s. So that's really nice. For core, I've got 29 Plague Bearers. They got full command and the Banner of Swiftness. 2 units of 10 pink horrors to fill out the core and hopefully get Infernal Gateway. For special, I've got 2 units of 5 Chaos Furies with the Mark of Tzeentch, so they don't explode if someone charges them. And 5 Seekers of Slaanesh. Lastly, I've got a Soul Grinder who's got the Mark of Tzeentch, the Demon Bone Claw, which means you can trade in all of your attacks for 1 attack at Strength 10 with D6 wounds, and he's got the Stone Thrower upgrade. I've never used a Stone Thrower before, so I thought I might as well give it a try. So this is my level 4 of Metal. He rolled up 1, 4, 5, and 6, which kind of stinks. I wish I had gotten doubles or gotten Enchanted Blades of Aban. That's probably my favorite spell and really helps out Plague Bearers, so they're hitting on 3s instead of 4s, and it also gives them a better chance to tear through armor. But I ended up getting Transmutation of Lead, Final Transmutation, Plague of Rust, and Golden Hounds, which is a pretty decent set of spells. I'm mostly just happy I got Final Transmutation. My level 2 of Tzeentch got Blue Fires of Tzeentch and Treason of Tzeentch. He actually rolled up Infernal Gateway, and I decided to drop down to Blue Fires. I'd much rather get Infernal Gateway on one of my horror units because I'm going to be tossing a ton of dice at it. And also, this guy's going to be in the middle of combat, hopefully, so he won't always be facing the correct direction. One of my horror units did roll Infernal Gateway, which was nice, so these pink ones have Infernal Gateway, and then these tan ones have Tzeentch's Firestorm. So this is deployment. This is before Vanguards. After Vanguards, most of the stuff just moves up. My opponent has Chameleon Skinks behind this building. I've got my level 4 of Metal here, my Soul Grinder. Here's my General in the middle. I've got the Tzeentch's Firestorm pink cores back here. My Plague Bearers of Nurgle. 2 units of Furies. My opponent has 2 Razor Dons that are together. Um, a unit of 5 Ripperdactyls that have the Toad Rage for my Plague Bearers. He's got 10 Skinks, a Salamander, an Ancient Stegodon back here. I think like 25 or so Saurus Warriors, something like that. He's got a Bastillodon. He's got his General right here, who is pretty nasty. He's on a cold one. He's got a great weapon, so he's hitting at strength 7. He has the Talisman of Preservation, so he's got a 4-up ward save. He's got the Dawn Stone, so he's rerolling his armor save. And he has the other Trickster Shard, so rerolling ward saves against him. He's got 10 more Skinks. He's got this Slan back here is actually Teto Echo. He just didn't have the model, who's in with a Skink cohort. He's got his BSB behind this building, who's also on a cold one. He's got a 1-up armor save and a 4-up ward save with the Talisman of Preservation. His General's got the Armor of Destiny. He's got another Salamander here, 10 more Chameleon Skinks, and 4 Pterodons. I've got my Infernal Gateway unit right here, and then also my Seekers of Slaanesh. This is before Vanguards. Pretty much we just all move forward. Teto Echo rolled 1 unit, can do a Vanguard move, so he moved up his Saurus. Turn 1 Demons. So, I don't do anything too exciting in the movement phase. I bring my Plague Bearers into the building, so if his Saurus want to charge me, go ahead, I don't really care. You're going to have only 10 guys in there, and you're not going to break me. I've got my pink cores just kind of move over a little bit. I fly the Furies back just because I don't need them right now, and I don't want them getting charged by the Ripperdactyls. I'm going to keep them back here so that they're in the leadership bubble and won't pop if I roll something terrible in the magic phase. On the other side, I move my General back, so he's got a pretty wide view right here. If anything moves forwards, I can go in for a charge, and I can also cast some stuff back here. And then I move in the Seekers so that if he brings his Pterodons and tries to do anything with them on this side, I'll be able to countercharge if necessary. And during the magic phase, I cast Final Transmutation on his block of Saurus. I rolled a 7 for the magic phase. I threw 4 dice at it, and it goes off on a pretty high number. He just decides to Dispel Scroll it, so I drew out the scroll on the very first spell, which was nice. And then I threw the rest of my dice at the Infernal Gateway, I believe. I don't think it goes off. I missed it by 1. I think I rolled a 15 and I needed a 16, which was unfortunate because there was a decent chance it was going to go off. I tried to cast it on his, I think his Ripperdactyls, or maybe his Pterodons. Oh, also I should say, I took 1 wound in the Soul Grinder. I tried to do the Stone Thrower onto his Stegodon. I rolled a direct hit, which I got excited about, but I looked over and saw that he had a misfire, so I took 1 wound. Turn 1 Lizardmen. He moves his Saurus up pretty far. He decides not to charge into the building. His Stegodon's kind of hanging back here. His General turns like this, I guess to face my Soul Grinder, and he moves up his Pterodons. Sorry, I meant he moves up his Ripperdactyls. His Pterodons he didn't end up moving, and he just brings his BSB out from behind the building. So, during the magic phase, I think he rolled a 7. I ended up getting, I think, 6 or 7 dice to dispel because I have so many channeling attempts. So this red chip here is Comet. Unfortunately, he irresistibly forced Comet, so there's nothing I could do about it. He ended up losing quite a lot of Skinks over here because he rolled Dimensional Cascade. Unfortunately, he did not get sucked into the warp, and he didn't even take a wound from the Strength 10 hit. So he just took out some Skinks that don't really matter. But he did get Comet off. And then there was nothing else to do in the magic phase. Through shooting, he sneaks through 2 wounds onto my Lord of Change over here, the level 4 of metal. This was unfortunate. His Skinks were in the building, and he rolled pretty well for their shots. He got a lot of poisons. Turn 2 Demons. So I elect to take everything into his Saurus block. I take my level 4 of metal, my general, and my soul grinder into the Saurus unit. My thought is, with 3 Thunder Stomps, I should be able to take him out no problem. I move up the Furies. Unfortunately, they're a little too far back, so I couldn't protect this flank over here, or I guess the rear of my soul grinder, but I'm not super concerned just because I'm going to win this combat and be able to turn around. So this is a shot of the combat over here. The Plague Bearers decide to stay in the building. They don't really have anywhere else to pop out to. They can't pop out to the right because of where the pink cores are positioned. I flew up my Chaos Furies to protect the flank of my general in case Ripperdactyls try and get in there. And then I move the pink cores up a little bit so that they can cast Infernal Gateway on a wider range of targets. I was thinking about doing it on his BSB, but I decided to do it on the Ripperdactyl since they're a more pressing threat. So during the magic phase, I don't think I get much done. I do throw 6 dice Infernal Gateway and try to kill his Ripperdactyls, and I just rolled terribly. I think I rolled 3 strength 4 hits or something, and then I didn't do a single wound, so that was really terrible. On average, I'm getting 7 strength 7 hits, so I should kill. On average, I'm killing 2 or 3 models, and I just couldn't kill a single one, so it was a total waste of a magic phase. That was really unfortunate. Over here, so I kill the Saurus Warriors to a man. He doesn't do a single wound to me, and with all the high strength attacks, he doesn't have any saves except for parry in the front. And then I think I rolled like 14 Thunder Stomps, and all of them happened to wound. So I killed him to a man. This is where I made a big mistake. I decided not to overrun. Had I overrun with this Lord of Change, I would have moved up probably into the woods, which would have been fine. If I rolled high enough, I would have gotten into these skanks. With the Soul Grinder, if I overran, I would run into the Furies and nothing would happen. But so it's fine that I didn't overrun with him. But I really should have overrun with this purple guy, and I definitely should have overrun with my general. I decided not to, and I hadn't thought about it, but he's in range for Comet, and that ends up becoming a big factor later on. So I should have overran. I would have been behind the Soul Grinder and been stuck, or maybe I would have rolled high enough to pop out the other side. Regardless, I should have overrun. The Soul Grinder is facing this way so that his general will charge in, and if he overruns, he won't get into my Lord of Change over here at the bottom. And then also, when his Stegodon charges in, it's going to have to roll very high to get into my Lord of Change for the overrun. So turn 2 Lizardmen. He takes his Stegodon into my Soul Grinder, and he takes his general in. I wasn't concerned about this too much. I found out that his Stegodon had sharpened horns, so D3 wounds in the impact hits. So as long as he doesn't kill him, I'll be able to do some damage with the Soul Grinder. He's got the Claw, so it's likely that his general will fail his initiative check, and if he fails his ward save too, he'll be dead. My opponent also takes the Ripperdactyls into the pink cores. I'm not super concerned about that, just because he's only got 3 models in there. He'll kill a lot of these guys, but the general's right there, so they're leadership 9, and if there's like 1 or 2 left, it'll be fine. I'll still be able to cast Infernal Gateway, and I think my Lord of Change can see the back of these guys. So if we do stick, I'll be able to take them out. So then in the magic phase, the Comet comes down, and he rolled pretty well for the distance. I think he rolled a 9 and plus 2 for the counter, so it's 11 inches. So had he not rolled so high, I might have been alright, but he ends up getting my Lord of Change over here, and it's strength 6 hits. He rolls like 5 or 6 wounds on. I think he rolls 5. No, he rolls 6 wounds on this guy. I discount the first one because of my 2+ ward save against the first wound, and then I'm only able to save 1, which was really unfortunate. Statistically, I should have gotten at least 2 ward saves, but I only saved 1, so Normally I count up in wounds. I messed up on this one because I was a little frazzled that this guy just took 4 wounds and is going to die in the shooting phase. Over here, my Lord of Metal, Lord of Change only takes 1 wound. I really wish he had just died and the other one didn't take any wounds. I lose a couple pink horrors. He does not very many wounds to the Plague Bears, and he totally annihilates his unit of Ripperdactyls. He's got 1 wound left. And then, through shooting, he's able to kill my Lord of Change. Actually, I think it might have been, not exactly sure what happened. He might have snuck through. Yeah, he used the solar beam attack of his Bastiladon, and he ended up rolling like 2d6 strength 6 hits or something ridiculous, so he just took off the last wound. That really sucked. Demons. So, this is after combat, actually. I had taken my Seekers and my Furies into a Salamander that was right over here. He held. And then I took my Lord of Change into his BSB. I'm liking my odds here. He's only got 2 wounds, and if I pop him, I'll overrun. If I'm lucky, I'll overrun into this unit over here and destroy them. And if not, I'll be able to charge them next turn. I defeat the... I don't kill the Salamander in combat, but he flees. I overrun, and I just rolled the wrong things for overrun. My Furies got a super long overrun, and they ran into the flank of this guy. So those would be easy combat res for him. And then my Seekers rolled a 2, 2, and a 1. So I was 1 inch away from running into these skanks. And had I ran into them, they would have been dead, no questions asked. You'll see that his general's got 1 wound on him. I'd used Gehenna's Golden Hounds on him a turn before. I rolled 3 hits. I rolled 2 1s to wound, so I only did 1 wound. So it was just not the best rolling in some of these magic situations. That really would have helped me out here. Turn 3 Lizardmen. I should say after this combat, I put 1 wound on his BSB, and he's actually flubs all of his attacks on the Furies, but he sticks because he's a BSB and cold-blooded. So he just turns around to see my Lord of Change and boxes in my poor Seekers of Slaanesh. I'm not super concerned about what's going on here. He can kill the Seekers, whatever. This Ripperdactyl combat's really dragging on down here. I just need to do 1 more wound, but I'm not able to get anything through. And during the magic phase, this Bastiladon ends up doing the Mega Solar Beam attack or whatever. I rolled really poorly to dispel, and he ends up killing all of the Seekers. He probably would have killed them in a shooting phase, but I would have liked to have had the chance to at least had 1 left or something. Over here, this was really unfortunate. He kills, I think, all 3 Furies, and my Lord of Change is just flubbing his attacks. He's got 5 strength 6 attacks. I'm higher weapon skill, and I think I only rolled 2 hits. And then he's able to save the wounds with his Talisman of Preservation. I really needed to break him this turn and his turn, because then I would have been able to charge into the flank of these guys, and they would have just been totally wiped out. I would have gotten rid of his magic, would have overrun, and it would have been tough for him to charge into me. At the end of combat, he just takes off 1 pink horror. All of the Seekers are dead, and these guys end up fleeing. I think this might actually be my turn, I'm sorry. Yeah, so this picture's from my turn in Demons. Sorry, let me go back. Okay, here we are. So this would be turn 4 Demons. So I ended up casting the Infernal Gateway on his general. I only do 1 wound. I rolled strike 9, which is pretty good, but he's able to ward save them. And then he fails his Warp Flame. So when you do a wound with Tzeentch magic, the opponent has to take a toughness test at the end of the phase. If they pass, they get regen 6. If they fail, they take D3 no armor save wounds. He failed. I rolled a 5, so he's taking 3 no armor save wounds. He only fails on a 6, so you just got really unlucky there. And he's dead, so that was good. These skinks over here panic, which is nice. And I bring the Plague Bearers out of the building to get into the back of the Stegodon. It had charged the back of my poor Lord of Change because it just wasn't able to break this this guy over here. So that was turn 4 demons. Lizardmen, he's in the back of this guy, and I know he's gonna die. My Lord of Change is gonna die, especially with all the impact hits and stuff. My hope is that he won't die on the impact hits. I'll be able to kill the BSB, and then I'll die. Which is what happens. I kill the BSB, and then he sneaks through a couple wounds with the Stegodon, and I just can't save all of them. So, at this point, it's really not looking good for the demons. I've killed his BSB and his general, but he's got a lot of points left on the table, and I really don't have much. The Plague Bearers take just a whopping in the shooting phase. I think he kills like 7 or 8. He was just rolling great for everything. Lots of poison shots. So, closing thoughts. At the end of the game, he ends up killing my Plague Bearers with the exact number of wounds, basically. He just kills them through shooting, and had I made one more ward save, I would have gotten like 470 extra points for those guys, but I couldn't. He ends up clearing everything except my Herald of Nurgle and my Chaos Furies. I've got 1 unit of Chaos Furies that are still alive. So he had his Bastiladon, Teto Echo. He had a level 2 Beasts caster who didn't do anything the entire game, that was still alive. He had a Skink cohort, I think, 3 units of Skink Skirmishers, Chameleon Skinks, Pterodons, and I think 1 Salamander left. So he ended up winning by about 1,000 points, I would say. So yeah, this was a loss for the demons. So some thoughts I have. I'm pretty happy with how I played for the most part. It was a mistake not to overrun. I really underestimated the power of Comet. I knew that it got more attacks or more hits with the counters. I didn't know it got higher strength, so I wasn't concerned about it because I'm strength 6. But had I known it was coming in at strength 6, or because I'm toughness 6, had I known it was going to come in at strength 6, I definitely would have overran and tried to get out of there. So that was the big mistake. Had that not happened, it would have been a much different game because I would have been able to charge with my general, who's got the Eternal Blade, into pretty much anything, and I'd kill it, probably on the charge. As for my list, I enjoyed my list. I decided to bring a softer list than I usually play. So even though it has 2 Lords of Change, it's really not the most competitive out there. There's an incredible amount of points tied up in 2 very, very fragile characters. Even though they have toughness 6, they've got no armor saves, and they've only got a 5-up ward rerolling 1s. So as you saw, Comet destroyed it, and even light shooting destroyed it just because of poison and also just because of the sheer number of hits. So had I been trying to put together a more competitive list, I don't think 2 Lords of Change is really the way to go. I also wanted to try out a list without Beasts of Nurgle or Skull Cannons. Those are probably 2 of the best units in the book, and I almost always bring them. I like having the range threat of the cannon and also the impact hits when they come in. And the Beasts of Nurgle are great for tar pitting, but I thought I'd try out a list without them. I think I played it pretty well except for that overrun scenario that I talked about, and I think it would have had the chance to win had I not lost the Lord of Change that was my general on the bottom of turn 2. As for my opponent, he put together, he played very well, and he put together a pretty decent Lizardmen list. I don't think he really made any glaring mistakes. It was just that I wasn't able to clean up his bigger monsters at the end of the day, which Skull Cannons really would have helped with. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you later.